Hey, thank you for watching this week. This whole month of December, I am talking about something that I find vitally important, and it is on acceleration. How to accelerate your progress when it comes to the dreams and the goals that God's put in your heart. I believe there are certain things you can do to actually speed things up. Something that could take 20 years could happen in 3 years or 5 years if you apply the right principles. So I encourage you to watch every podcast this month so that you're on, pace with us to learn all these principles to accelerate your progress. So this week in particular, I want to talk about something that I find crucial to being successful, and that is clarity. Clarity produces results. You will be amazed at what you can accomplish when you get clear on what you want. In fact, I was reading something about a guy named H.L. Hunt. He was, his life was the inspiration for the TV show Dallas, which is where we're located, right near Dallas. In fact, J.R. Ewing, that character was based on perceptions of this man, H.L. Hunt. So he was a bankrupt cotton farmer who became a multi-billionaire, not millionaire. And in a TV interview, they asked him, they said, "What has caused you to be so financially successful, and what could you tell others to help them be financially wealthy?" He said, only 2 things are required. Number 1, he said, decide exactly what you want to accomplish. And number 2, determine what price you're willing to pay to get it. And that makes me think about a quote from Mark Twain, how he basically said the same thing. He said, I can teach anybody how to get what they want in life. Problem is, I can't find anybody who can tell me what they truly want. And that is where most people fail on their way to success, is they don't know exactly what they want. They're not clear on it. You've got to get crystal clear on what you want, especially with the new year coming. 2015 is just around the corner, and you need to be crystal clear on what you want to see accomplished. Do you want to be debt-free? Is it all of your debt, or is it one credit card? Is it your school loans? What is it that you want to accomplish in 2015? Are you wanting to open a daycare? Do you want to save $10,000? Do you want to open a dance studio? Do you want to save $100,000? Do you want to become a realtor? Do you want to go on a mission trip? Okay, where? Where do you want to go? When do you want to go? Who do you want to go with? You've got to get crystal clear if you want to accelerate your progress. I believe that clarity is one of the single most important keys to success. In fact, you may have heard of this famous study from Yale University from the graduating class of 1953. Now, this has been published in so many success books and magazines that it's gone all over the world. But what happened was, in 1953, they did research on this graduating class and found that 3% of the graduates had a clear list of dreams and goals that they wanted to accomplish during their lifetime. Well, 20 years later, they went back and researched that same graduating class and found that the 3% who wrote their dreams and goals had a clear plan of success. They were not only healthier and happier, but they had achieved more financial success than the 97% combined together. So think about that. Now, like I said, that study has gone all over the world, and that is just one proof, one research that's shown how vital it is that you get clear on what you want to accomplish. I've said on other podcasts how years ago I wrote in my, thinking 5 years into the future, and I wrote things about wanting to impact the nation of France. Now, when I wrote that, I didn't know anyone in France. I'd only been there one time on a 2-day little trip. I didn't know how I was going to impact the nation, but I was crystal clear that France is the mission field that I want to reach. Well, is it a coincidence that my books are translated into French? This is our Untangled book called Délié. Is it a coincidence that a French publisher from the south of France came into my life and now my books are in French? Why aren't they in German? Well, I've never been clear on wanting to impact, through the German language. I'm not opposed to that, but I've never been crystal clear that I want everything translated in German or Italian or Russian. No, I've been crystal clear on wanting all of my products translated into French. Well, when you're clear, when the vision is clear, the results will appear. That's what happens when you get crystal clear. And this happens in every area of life. In fact, I heard a story recently about a lady who had a dream to lose weight, and she went to the department store and she bought a dress 10 sizes too small. She said she was so embarrassed she even told the sales clerk it's for somebody else. But she said she hung that dress up in her closet. So every day when she opened that door, she saw her vision. She wasn't vague about it. She didn't just say, I want to lose weight. Her vision was so crystal clear, that's the size I want to be. Every day she looked at that vision. Now, it didn't happen overnight, but eventually she wore that very dress. I want you to get crystal clear on what you want to accomplish. You know, in my new book on the Leader's Checklist, I wrote a chapter about setting goals for yourself and obtaining your vision and things like that. But you know, I learned a couple years ago from Brian Tracy to write down your top 10 goals. 10 goals that you want to achieve over the next year. Now, I don't have time to teach all of this, but I actually did that. I wrote down 10 very specific goals for me and my family, and some for the ministry too. And they were big things, like to have a certain amount of money for my daughter's car, to go on a Bahamas vacation, and I wrote how much I needed for hotel and expenses. Number 3 was to speak at the largest conference in the nation of France. Now keep in mind, I didn't know the people who host the largest conference in France. They didn't know me. Number 4, I said to be invited to speak in 2 new cities in France. I didn't know which cities. I don't know anybody in other cities. Then I wrote number 5 to have a new contract with a publisher, and I wrote how much I wanted. Number 6 to weigh my perfect weight, and I wrote what that is, which I'm not going to tell you. And then number 7, I said to write a new book on breaking soul ties. Number 8, to have the new book on breaking soul ties translated in French. Number 9, to write a book on imagination. Number 10, to speak at the Amway conference. Now, I didn't know anybody in Amway. I don't know the host of the Amway conference, but I wrote it down anyway. I was very specific about what I wanted to achieve. Well, do you know that by December 31st, this was in 2012, every single goal I wrote was achieved? Why? I was crystal clear on what I wanted. You've heard the phrase, vague goals produce vague results. I want you to get specific about what you want to accomplish. And remember this, the number one question that will stop you from going after those big dreams is asking how. If you sit around all day saying, I don't know how this could ever happen. How could I seriously get a French publisher? Nobody even knows who I am. If you keep asking how, you won't achieve your dreams. I want you to just take these crucial steps to getting clear on what you want to accomplish. Be as clear and specific as you possibly can. Now, one of the most important things about clarity is that you have to put it in writing. It's not enough to just think it in your head and just, wonder about it and imagine it and close your eyes and see yourself doing it. No, write your dreams and goals. That's a principle that comes straight from the Word of God. Habakkuk says, write the vision and make it plain on paper. Why? Because it provides clarity for you. It means you're serious. When you just think you can keep your goals in your head, they say that's just an excuse for not writing them down. It's people who take the time to write down the clarity of their goals. They're the ones who achieve success. So that's the key I want you to practice this week, and we'll continue on with accelerating your progress. If you're enjoying these podcasts, please subscribe to this channel. Share it with your friends and follow us on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook so I can keep you motivated to go after your dreams. And real quick, if you're interested in coming to the next conference, which is all about success, all about going after your goals, then sign up now because space is limited and I keep hearing of all the registrations that are pouring in. So I want you to save a spot, to invest in yourself, invest in your 2015 by getting a clear plan of action so you will succeed on purpose. I want 2015 to be the most amazing year you've ever had in your life. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.